Hello everyone. So what you're about to hear is a byproduct of brainstorming between me and my groupmates. Let us first have number 1. What is the optimal interrelationship of cognitive, affective, and physical domains for successful language learning? As we are all familiar, there is this what we call the three domains of learning, which are cognitive, affective, physical, or psychomotor, which is applicable in teaching and learning. In the previous article that we've read, it is said that learning and language go together. It is no different when you want to successfully learn a language. Affective, cognitive, and physical domains are three different concepts that are essential in the process of learning. In order to build a learning task for students that are holistic, all three domains must be considered. The variety of learning activities helps to develop a more well-rounded learning environment that caters to a variety of learning styles and modalities. The cognitive domain encompasses 6 categories, which include knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. The cognitive area seeks to improve an individual's mental abilities and information acquisition, which is what you will be needing in order for you to recall data and information with regards to the language you're trying to learn. The attitude of an individual towards learning is very important because your will to do it is one of the greatest driving force. This is where affective domain gets involved. The categories of affective domain includes receiving phenomena, responding to phenomena, valuing, organization, and characterization. The affective domain includes the feelings, emotions, and attitude of an individual. If you're not interested in the language you are trying to learn, then it will result to failure. Thus, your value and interest towards learning the language will somewhat measure the success of your journey. Putting a high value to the language you're learning will make you attentive enough and exert an extra effort in the process. Well, successful language learning is not possible without the third domain, which is physical or psychomotor domain, and it refers to the use of motor skills, coordination, and physical movement, or relating to motor action directly proceeding from mental activity. In connection to the language learning, it is now where you exercise the language you've learned. You're able to speak it, explain well yourself using it, and even modify or jumble words. This is impossible without the cognitive and affective domain. Every person's life revolves around their ability to learn. It is critical to growth and development and thus necessitates the learner's commitment to the process. It's also important to make sure that learning is delivered in a way that incorporates the various aspects that have been defined as learning domains. Let us proceed to number 2. Learning a second language is hard yet beneficial. It takes time to be familiarized with the words, how you use it, and finally construct a sentence using your second language, but there is always a way to overwhelmingly memorize it and become like a pro when using the language. There really has to be an optimal length of time required for successful mastery, because learning second language will be your weapon to gain more knowledge that is not available to your first language or native language. Considering the time exposure of the students, the learners should be exposed in 5 hours a week in the classroom, specifically 1 hour a day. Why? Because learning should always be interesting. 5 hours a week or 1 hour per day in the classroom is effective because learning a second language should be practiced every day for a faster mastery. Always consider the attention span of the student. If we consume a longer length of time, learners are going to deal with hardships toward learning language programs. Making the student spend more than an hour a day learning a subject matter will just bore them. According to studies, students in the college level have an attention span of 30 to 40 minutes during lecture. This period is even shorter with younger students. So the learning period has to depend or consider its learners. Students best learn when they're interested in the subject, which is why an hour exposure a day is an option in order to keep their attention. The attitude of the learner, the time the learner spends with the language, and the learner's attentiveness to the language are just another factor in learning the language. We are all active in using language as tool for communication, but first, we should have confidence enough to render our self-knowledge. But the question is, how active should a learner be when outside the school? Well, a student may be active in a lot of ways, like when he uses it even outside the school or classroom, as much as possible. Because learning doesn't stop or end inside the classroom nor the school premises. It is also best to interact with others who are at the same state of learning. Not only that it makes them feel at ease because they all know the background of each other, but it will also make them, or it will also be fun as they are all trying to explore their abilities with their second language. Spending time with a multilingual person who knows the language you're trying to learn is a great way to learn the language even better. There are things that you learn from a veteran speaker of the language that you cannot learn from the school. You can also be active by using the language every day, whether you're talking to the mirror or to a member of family. One of the easiest way to help advance a student is by incorporating learning experiences outside the classroom. The purpose of school is to prepare the student for life, thus making the student to still be active when they're out of it, because that's one of the stepping stones in order to familiarize yourself with the language in hopes of becoming a pro someday. That's all. Thank you. Okay.